The sirens! Ah. I'm a Virgo. I judge people and I plan. Okay, and that is what's launched me into my love for slow travel, and that's why I want to share it with the world. Slow travel is a really great way to gain wisdom from the world. Instead of going around running to place to place to place to take photos, you're like actually engaging with people and places. Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to share 4 ways that you can slow travel and why slow travel is the best thing that you should do. It's like the thing you should have done like yesterday. Okay? So stay tuned. So as you guys start watching this video, I invite you to grab a cup of tea or coffee or a snack and take a little stroll with me to Central Park before we get started. Enjoy! Look, a turtle. You could talk to me, you could talk to each other.
We're busy discussing.
I'm trying to move.
Move!
Yeah.
Do you want to make travel part of your lifestyle? Are you a travel junkie or are you someone who wants to be? So if any of these things apply to you, I want to tell you about slow travel. You might be slow traveling already and you're just not calling it that, but I think we should jumpstart slow travel into the matrix. Some tourists are walking by. I'm gonna keep filming. You might be asking, like, what the heck is slow travel? Like, why do I care, Naisha? That's a good question. Slow travel is basically a slower way of traveling. And when I say slow, I don't mean slow like at a snail's pace, but I mean slow as in more intentional, not as fast as the conventional way to travel, which is like hop to 3 cities in 2 days and take pictures with the Big Ben and the Queen of Elizabeth. In 2 hours and make that the whole focal point of your trip. Slow travel is a term that was coined by Pauline Kennedy in 2000. But Remote Year, which is a website that everybody should check out, Remote Year defines slow travel as an approach to travel that emphasizes connection to local people, cultures, food, music, etc. It relies on the idea that the trip is meant to educate and have an emotional impact on the traveler while remaining sustainable for the local community and environment, which is pretty awesome. A lot of people also relate slow travel to living like a local. So when you think about how you can slow travel, you can use it as like a framework, as like a mindset to frame the way that you're going to experience a new place or the place that you already live in. You can think about slow travel as a thing that you do or a thing that you can live. So you could go to some place for a week and have a slow travel mentality to how you visit the place, or you could just move somewhere and just stay there for 3 months, 2 months, however many months that you can afford, or you can get a job. And that is another way to like slow travel, by just getting kind of in touch with the culture and the place that you're living. So slow travel is a term that has come out of the slow movement, and the slow movement comes out of the slow food movement. So the slow food movement was a movement started in the 80s, I believe. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but it was started in the 80s when someone wanted to put a McDonald's in a little town in Italy. And the Italians were like, we don't want fast food. What do you think this is? New York? We not slow food. Slow food is the idea that you want your food to be as local as possible, made as slow and intentional as possible, to make sure you got that really good, rich taste, flavor, okay, down to earth, crunchy. Okay. So here's a question for you. This is what the Italians had to come up against. You have two options. On the one hand, you have Mickey D's. Your food is made in some factory somewhere. It was shipped from the UK for 5 days. It was made from stuff you don't really know, chemicals maybe, not real food, right? And on the other hand, you have your food that was grown in a local Italian village. The garlic was harvested last week.
Harvested by your grandmother.
You know who cooked the food, you know who brought the seasonings, you know where the salt came from. All those things that you love about the food, you know everybody who had a hand in it. So when slow food, the slow food movement was introduced to the world, it was because Italians were like, we don't want McDonald's, we want fast food, we want slow food, we want food that was made with love and intention. So that is where the slow precursor comes from. Okay, so when it comes to travel, slow travel is the way to go. And I promise you, half of you are already doing this, but I want us to talk about it more intentionally. Everyone should know that they should or could be slow traveling. So I'm looking down at my notes here, just in case. Okay. So I can say confidently that I have slow traveled in about 6 places. I'll list them somewhere on the screen. These are 6 cities that I've been to that I've either lived in or experienced in a way that I would determine is slow travel. And I think the beauty of a concept like this is that we can define what slow travel means for us. I can't tell if I should look here or here. So now that we know what slow travel is, we have a little definition. The next logical question is like, how do we do this? That is a great question. I sat down to think about it. Nobody created a little list of ways you can do it, so I did. All right. So I made a little acronym so we can remember. The acronym is PERF, but the acronym could also be PER with the F as silent. Now, I think PERF, I like PERF a little more, so we're gonna go with PERF. Here is the PERF methodology to slow travel. 3, 2, 1. Okay. First method is through a program. First letter is P for program. When slow traveling through a program, you might have already done this. If you've ever studied abroad in some way, shape, or form, you have probably participated in a program that helped you do your traveling. With a program, you can either sign up to a study abroad program, you can do a volunteer abroad program, you could sign up for like a specialty program where you can learn things but you're doing it abroad. It might be school, like you decide you want to do your master's or your undergrad, or you want to do a certificate in another country or city. The great thing about slow travel through programs is that you get usually a group experience, which is really awesome, and the programs usually plan a local-ish, right? A local-ish itinerary, so they incorporate some touristy things, but they also incorporate some things that feel like really getting into the nitty-gritty of the place that you're in, which is really cool. So a program is a really great way to get like a toe into slow travel if you want it to be organized by someone who is not yourself. So I love the program method to slow travel because that was my introduction to slow travel. I think I just cut myself. My skin is like coming off. The program method to slow travel is how I started slow traveling. I've been participating in programs since I want to say in high school. We'd sign up for a program to go somewhere and you get to have like a very intentional experience in that place. And that is what's launched me into my love for slow travel, and that's why I want to share it with the world. You could do this by doing language exchanges also, and I think it's a really great way to get started, okay? Hear the popo ringing off in the background. But the next method is unscripted. So this is like the complete opposite of the spectrum. So the next methodology, oh my gosh. Unscripted is the complete opposite of the program method. Unscripted is when you go somewhere and you have no plans at all. You're like, you know what, I'm just gonna let the wind take me where it takes me. I'm gonna let the wind blow and see what happens out in the world. And this is the method that it's hit or miss. You know, if you do it right, you can get into some really interesting things, but if you do it wrong, you could just do nothing for your entire trip. And you might want to do that. Like, that might be your flavor for this trip, and you're like, you know what, I just want to do nothing. I just want to chill, just want to walk around, eat, see some parks. Like, that is fine too. Nobody's gonna judge you. Nobody knows unless you tell somebody, so do what you want, okay? That's your business. So, going unscripted also means freestyling a trip, and sometimes this method can give you the best results. Then you'll be like, damn, I really just didn't plan the trip and had the time of my life. Going unscripted usually means that you'll have a lot of downtime. It also means that you might explore your local area a lot more. It might mean kind of like going somewhere and, you know, you go to a restaurant, you say, hey restaurant people, like, hey my waiter, where's the best place for me to get a margarita around here? Maybe not that, I'm not a drinker, so let's do another example. You go to the waiter and you say, hey waiter, where's the best place to get this very traditional dish? Like, I'm in New Orleans, I want to get the best red beans and rice ever. Okay, when I was in New Orleans, I had access to any and everybody I could because I wanted to know where was the best place to get red beans and rice. A lot of people told me that you had to get it from your grandmother's house. I didn't have a grandmother. There was a lady at the end who invited me to her home, but it took about 2.5 months for that to happen. So, you know, it's a hit or miss. Like, you really could get results and you could not. But it's all about taking the risk. When you go unscripted, it can always open a can of worms. Like, you could, you know, you open one door and all of a sudden you're like in Narnia. You know what I mean? You could open a can of worms with it, but I will say that unscripted can be really fun. You always should stay safe. Staying safe is imperative. Tell people where you're going. Tell your mom, tell your somebody, tell your sister, tell a friend. You know, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you tell people where you are. But it can be really fun. And you usually will end up doing things that you never expected. So I would keep an eye on this methodology, especially if you feel like you have a lot of time to like kill. You're like, you know what, I'm going somewhere for 2 weeks, and one of the weeks I don't want to plan. I just want to like ride the tide, see what happens. So this is a good methodology to use if you feel like you have time that you're like not trying to assign. Also, if anyone is just absolutely loving my jewelry right now, okay. This set is made by my friend Epi, who runs the Epicenter. These two pieces here, she made them. She was like, I'm selling this special set. And I was like, I need that special set. I love cowries, as you can tell. Okay, I have them all over my hair. I love cowrie shells. And when she said she was selling this set that had like a cowrie almost choker, and I'm a choker girl, you can change the size of this, which is nice, but I wanted to have it layered. But I had to buy it, so you should check out her store. I'll link it down below because, you know, you may want to buy something, so go ahead. The next letter of our acronym is R, which stands for research. So a next way to slow travel, instead of doing a program where somebody researches for you, and instead of going unscripted where you research nothing, research means that you just decide like a month before the trip, like, I'm gonna go hard on the paint and figure out where I need to go. So you're reading blogs, you're watching YouTube videos, you're on TikTok or Snapchat or, you know, Instagram. You're like going on the interwebs. You're like, I'm trying to find info. I'm trying to get some resources from people. Research is a great way to just kind of get your feet wet about what you could be experiencing. So sometimes when I go places, I like to research. I like to mix like research and unscripted. So I might do a lot of research, but I don't do everything that I researched. But I want to do research so I know what I should be asking about when I get there. So you can combine those two methods, but research is a great way to kind of just understand like, where am I going and what should I do when I am thinking about figuring out what activities and things I like to do. But I would say this is a great methodology for type A people or people who really like to plan. I'm a planner, okay? I'm a Virgo. I judge people and I plan. Okay, that's what I do. I'm sorry. Sorry to everybody in the world. But I'm a planner. Like, I like to know what I'm doing when I get somewhere. And if I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, I feel nervous. So even if I don't do all the things, I like to do a little research first. Researching before a slow travel trip might help you feel more at ease if you're a person like me who likes to like plan a little bit. But if you will take this method, I advise you to stay open and flexible. Okay? Because if you research everything and things don't go as planned, you're gonna be really frustrated. So it's always good to stay open and flexible. The letter F in this system is for fixation. I will find a definition somewhere and put it. So you might be saying, oh, but Naisha, why are you telling us to fixate on things? So I have a rising in Taurus and a moon in Taurus. My Taurus placements make me so I'm really like I'm a homebody in a very intense way. So if I like something, like I'm comfy, I'm staying there. Okay, if there's a food I like, I'm eating that every single day until I'm tired of it, and I probably won't get tired of it. There's a place I like to go to, Cuba. I am going there every time I get money. I'm learning to break out of that. I'm really proud of myself because I've been to some other places recently, but girl, if you gave me $1,000, my first thing's like, let's go to Cuba. So I'm a fixator. I'm a person that I get really like worked up about one thing and I'm like really obsessed about it. But I think this is a really awesome way to plan your travels. I'm not saying that you should become fixated on a person because that's stalking. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not recommending that. But I do recommend following a passion or an excitement or a curiosity of yours. Okay, so I'm a big proponent of turning something you're fascinated with into a trip, into a destination. That is my like personal favorite thing to do. So I'll give you an example. I used to be really obsessed with ramen. So you know, like cup of noodles, like the ramen that you cook that's dry noodles. I was obsessed with ramen. Every night when I was in 8th grade, I ate ramen if I could. If my mom would let me, I would eat it all the time. In high school, I ate it all the time. We would make ramen in the bathroom sink. Probably not very sanitary, but that's what we did. I used to get a girl to pay me to make her ramen. I was a ramen connoisseur. And then I found this movie called Ramen Girl about this girl who went to Japan because she got broken up with and she learned how to make ramen, and her tears made the ramen taste all the more better. And I was like, oh my god, I need to taste real ramen. And then my camp was offering this program and one of the locations was Japan. Guess what I did? I applied for the program to go to Japan so I could have ramen. Okay? That is how you build a trip on a fixation. It's something that you're just really excited about. It makes your like heart pump. Makes you feel like so excited about life. I think it's a really great way to plan a trip. Think about something you're really excited about. Like maybe you could be really into hip hop. Maybe that means you design your own like history tour of hip hop in the Bronx or in Brooklyn. Maybe you're really into pupusas, which I am. That means that you take a slow travel food tour of Queens to visit all the pupuserias that you can afford. Okay, so there's different ways that you can engage things that you really care about or things you're really excited by and turn them into impactful experiences. And that is like just what I want to encourage you to do. Everyone. I want everyone to do this because I think it's really accessible, it can be affordable, and it changes, okay, how you think about going places and even the place that you live, okay? Downstairs, across the street. I talked to these really interesting young people. I say young people like I'm 30. I talked to these people who were 23 as I was coming here, and I didn't get it on tape. Side note, if you do YouTube, you need to just be keeping the camera on. Don't turn it off, babes, okay? Because you're cheating yourself of really good material. I was talking to these people. I was telling them like, oh yeah, I'm starting a YouTube channel and I want to make it about slow travel so I can encourage young people to slow travel. And one of the people, I don't know their name, but they were saying that they would totally encourage people to slow travel, even in their own city. And when you use it as a mindset, it's like, yeah, you need to talk to people. You need to talk to your neighbors. You need to talk to the barista or the waiter where you're at, so you can see where's the good stuff. Where is the good stuff at? Where should I be eating? Where should I be partying? Where should I be buying clothes? Or things like that. I used to be a high school teacher, so I'm like, I have experienced the wise words of teenagers. And I think what's really cool about young people right now is that our values are shifting. We're not into fluffy duffy all the time. Like, we're also curious about like real people, real experiences, like wanting to change the world or wanting to make the world like a more reasonable place to live. And I think that slow travel can really introduce you to the ideas, the people, the places you want to tap into to kind of continue to develop yourself. Just gaining more wisdom from the world. Instead of going around running to place to place to place to take photos, you're like actually engaging with people and places. Okay? So think about it. Just think about it. This is your youngest auntie telling you to pack your bags. We're waiting for you. In the car, in the bus, in the aeroplane. Pack your bags. Let's go. We're getting on a trip. Let's go now, okay? We're getting ready, okay? Get your things together, okay? Chop, chop. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this inspires you to plan a trip soon within your budget. And get rid of your car if you can. Don't have a car. Too much money. Just save your money. Let's go on a trip. Thank you so much, guys. See you! I secretly think I'm old, and when I see other young people, I'm like, oh my god, they think I'm an old lady who's filming her YouTube channel. It's just so weird. Aging is so strange, guys. Like, can we talk about that? Bing bang.